Let's go to WA right now, where the opposition leader is Liza Harvey, and she joins us now from our Perth studios. Liza, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much for having us. Let's talk about these border restrictions in Western Australia. Let's deal firstly with internal travel in Western Australia. We had a tour operator on the air with us about 20 minutes ago who was saying all they want's a date, and they don't even have a date about when people will be able to move around the great state of Western Australia.
Yeah, thanks very much, Paul, and good evening to your listeners and viewers. We've been calling for a lift of the intrastate border restrictions in WA for quite some time, and particularly now the Deputy Chief Medical Officer for Australia, Paul Kelly, has said there's no medical reason for these lockdowns. Now, I used to run a business in Exmouth, and it's a very seasonal town. They rely on tourism for their livelihoods. If they don't make the money now, they don't make it at all. And it's very, very serious conditions in our regional centres in Exmouth, Geraldton, Broome, Kalgoorlie. They need their tourism businesses back up and running. And in WA, Paul, we now only have 3 cases of coronavirus in our community. We've had no community spread. We've had long strings of days with no new cases at all. So the argument to keep us locked down within our own state is falling apart. We need to open up to save these jobs and save our businesses.
The Premier, look, I understand all the political reasons why he loves the daily briefings and loves the live on every channel and all the rest. I get all of that crap. But he's a guy who apparently used to have some responsibility for tourism. You would think that he would be at the very least aware of the types of businesses that are being smashed every day. He just beats his chest and says, look how good I am. I've got a guaranteed job. You and your job, I'll get back to you later.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, I'm not critical of the health response to this crisis. I think the lockdown needed to happen so we could amp up our hospital system, and we've done that. You know, hundreds of nurses in Western Australia have been trained up to step into ICU if it's needed. We've got ventilators on, we've got a supply of PPE, we're getting back to doing elective surgery. The case to keep us locked down when there's no community spread in our state is really weak. And, you know, I would implore the Premier to go out and listen to these business owners. It's really emotional. You know, these guys are on their knees. We had 62,000 people lose their jobs in WA in April, and a lot of those are our kids, our young people who've just got no optimism, no hope of employment. And the longer we leave it, the more of these businesses will fall over. And if they fall over in regional WA, the sad likelihood is that they will not restart, which is just a dreadful thing for our rural economies.
So do you see a scenario where currently, if there's no date for returning travel internally in Western Australia, the concept of that border falling down between Western Australia and the rest of the country is clearly even months longer than that? I mean, again, the health response, fine, but this is we're pivoting to the second wave of the economic failures that are happening here. How long do you think WA should keep its border up between it and the rest of the country?
Well, I've listened to the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Paul Kelly's advice, and he says there is no medical reason for any of these border closures at the moment. And for me, here in WA, I look to our nearest neighbours, South Australia and the NT. They've had no community spread of the virus. They've had very few presentations of the disease at all. To even open up those 3 states would at least provide some flow, some trickle of traffic to try and help our tourism businesses. You know, every day that our Premier dithers on this is a day that a family business falls over, more people join the unemployment queue, and more jobs are lost, potentially forever. It's a jobs crisis, and it needs decisive action. People need a date. We need to get intrastate travel open at the very least to get people moving around the state.
Liza, good on you. A lot of people watching us in WA right now, so very pleased that you're here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.